Battle of the Brains, presented by Invest 529, Central Virginia's high school academic quiz show. Today's match features St. Christopher School versus Clover Hill High School. Let's play.
Hello and welcome to Battle of the Brains, Virginia's long-running high school academic quiz show. I'm Cheryl Miller. Our competition welcomes teams from schools all across the Commonwealth, competing each season for a share of $20,000 in scholarship money, courtesy of Invest 529 and the E.W. Scripps Foundation. The academic athletes joining us today are the Saints of St. Christopher School, coached by Alina Shahatsky. Located in the city of Richmond, St. Christopher School is a college preparatory school, private school for boys. Founded in 1911, the school emphasizes education, community, and its honor code. Also with us today, the Cavaliers of Clover Hill High School, coached by Vincent Eichley. Clover Hill High School is in Midlothian and part of the Chesterfield County Public School District. It's home to the Mathematics and Science High School at Clover Hill. Great to have all of these students back with us today as we continue round 2 of this season's match. Our match today will consist of 3 toss-up rounds and a category round. Players will buzz in and wait for you to call on them before giving their answer. Any interruption of questions with an incorrect answer will result in a point deduction, and there is no deduction for an incorrect answer to a completed question. All right, students, welcome back. Let's start our first toss-up round. In U.S. federal law, a misdemeanor is a lesser crime. What 6-letter word refers? Sutton.
A felony?
That is correct, to a more serious crime. Which sultan captured Jerusalem in 1187? Henry.
Saladin?
Correct. What is the most common color of an airplane's so-called black box? Arjun.
Red?
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Jonah?
Green?
It's actually bright orange.
Oh.
Named for a Portuguese explorer, which navigable strait connecting Sutton?
Magellan?
That is correct. Connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Feeling homesick during a class trip to Paris, what did Steve tell his host when he said, "Je veux aller à la maison"? Henry.
I want to go home.
That is correct. Located in the Andes mountain range in Argentina at almost 23,000 feet, what is the tallest mountain? Henry.
Aconcagua?
Correct, in the western and southern hemispheres. What country do British swallows, laden or unladen, generally migrate to? Arjun.
South Africa.
That is correct. That's a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. By what name was British Army officer, diplomat, and writer Thomas Edward Lawrence better known? Arjun.
Publius.
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Henry?
D.H. Lawrence?
It's actually Lawrence of Arabia. What physics term's definition is as follows? The practical kilogram second unit of electric charge equal to the quantity of electricity transferred by a current of 1 ampere in 1 second. Henry?
Watt?
That is incorrect. St. Christopher's? Arjun?
Volt.
That would be a coulomb. In 1610, Galileo discovered Callisto, Io, Europa, and Ganymede, the 4 largest moons of which planet? Robert?
Jupiter.
Correct. All right, teams, watch and listen carefully. Here is a video question from the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch. You must wait until the question is asked completely before buzzing in. If you buzz in early, that is a 10-point penalty, and I cannot call on you at that point.
Who was the royal governor who promised freedom to enslaved men who joined his Ethiopian regiment to fight the Patriots in 1775?
Arjun.
King Menelik II.
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Henry?
Berkeley?
It would be Lord Dunmore of Virginia. In which fictional town did Clark Kent grow up before he became Superman? Robert?
Smallville.
Correct, in Kansas. They were officially called the 1st U.S. Volunteer Cavalry, and their most famous battle, Sutton.
The Rough Riders?
That is correct. Their famous battle took place in Cuba in 1898. A handkerchief can be used as a decorative pocket accessory. Spell handkerchief. Henry.
Handkerchief.
And that is correct. There are 5 regions of the human spinal cord. I will name 4 of them. Which one is omitted? Cervical, coccygeal, thoracic, and sacral. Sutton.
Clavicle?
That is incorrect. Clover Hill?
guess.
The one that was missing is lumbar. You may need your pencil and paper for this one. A triangle with a base of 8 feet and an area of 128 square feet has a height of what? Sutton.
32.
That is correct. And that buzzer is the end of our first toss-up round. A great job by our team so far. Up next, we'll introduce you to today's players, and then they'll take on the category round here on Battle of the Brains.
Miss a week of Battle of the Brains? Want to catch up on the full season of play? Find full episodes on our YouTube channel. Welcome back to Battle of the Brains.
Here are the scores following the first toss-up round here on Battle of the Brains. Our team from St. Christopher's School with 70 points. Our team from Clover Hill High School with 40 points. And we'll get back to our match just ahead. But first, let's learn a little bit about today's players. Let's introduce our team from St. Christopher's School. Brody Schlobaum is a junior who enjoys playing bar trivia and collecting bottle caps. Sophomore Arjun Anand runs both track and cross country, is a member of Model UN and on the debate team as well. Our team captain from the St. Christopher's School is Robert Head, who is a senior. Rose Crew really enjoys Spielberg movies and really enjoys cheeseburgers. And wrapping up our team from St. Christopher's is Sutton Olison, who is a varsity soccer captain, enjoys reading, writing, and poetry, and plans to go into pre-law. That is our team from St. Christopher's School. Now let's meet our team from Clover Hill High School. First up is Lydia Joe, who is a senior, enjoys physics, nature, and biology, and looking forward to a future in aerospace engineering. Our team captain is Henry Harris, who is in the 11th grade, plays cello and piano, and enjoys geography. Connor Lord is a 11th grader who plays alto sax in the school's band, enjoys physics, building models, and robotics. And wrapping up our team is Jonas Schumann, who is a junior, is a member of the Latin Club and Mu Alpha Theta, is interested in Linux, programming, and math, and plans to study math in college. And that is our team from Clover Hill High School. Great to have them here with us as well as our team from St. Christopher's School. And now our teams are going to take on the category round. They'll select a 10-question category from today's choices. If the team gets all of its questions correct in the allotted time, they'll receive a 20-point bonus. All right, teams, here are today's categories from which you may choose. First is ends with CTIVE, art and music, and Asian countries. And we do note that in this round, only the captains can officially answer for the team. They may confer with their teammates to try to come up with the correct answers, but they may not defer to another teammate to answer the questions. By the rules, the high score team gets the first choice of category. That is our team from St. Christopher's School. Robert, what would you and your team like to play?
Asian countries.
All right. In which country in Asia will you find each of the following? The first is the Taj Mahal.
India. India.
Correct. The island of Hokkaido.
Japan.
Correct. South shore of the Caspian Sea.
Iran. Iran.
That is correct. Temple of Angkor Wat.
Cambodia. Cambodia.
Correct. Cities of Aden and Sana'a.
Yemen.
Yemen is correct. Confluence of and delta of the Ganges and Brahmaputra rivers.
Bangladesh. Bangladesh.
Correct. Islands of Luzon and Mindanao.
Philippines. Philippines.
Correct. Tiananmen Square.
China.
Correct. Former President Niyazov's palace at Ashgabat.
Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan.
Correct. And finally, the east shore of the Dead Sea.
Jordan. Jordan.
That is correct. And a speed for the category. A 20-point bonus for our team from St. Christopher's School. Good job. All right, Clover Hill High School, will it be ends with CTIVE or art and music? Henry, talk it over with the chief.
It would be ends with CTIVE.
All right, what word ending with the letters CTIVE refer to the following? First is substances that emit radiation.
Radioactive.
Correct. Orders issued by an executive.
Directive.
Directive is correct. Not being influenced by personal opinions.
Objective.
Correct. Things for which one feels a compulsive need.
Pass.
That would be addictive. Fiction's Sherlock Holmes or TV's Adrian Monk.
Detective.
Correct. A school course that is not required.
Elective.
Elective.
Correct. A group entity such as Star Trek's Borg.
Collective.
Collective.
Correct. The illusion of depth and distance in drawings.
Perspective.
Perspective.
Correct. Something broken or malfunctioning.
Defective.
Correct. And finally, abusive or critical language.
Subjective.
That would be invective. All right, good job on your category as well, our team from Clover Hill. Up next, we'll have another toss-up round when Battle of the Brains comes back.
Battle of the Brains is always available. Find full episodes on YouTube and follow Battle of the Brains on social media. Welcome back to Battle of the Brains.
Here are the scores following the category round here on Battle of the Brains. Our team from St. Christopher's School with 140 points. Our team from Clover Hill High School with 80 points. And now it's back to Battle of the Brains and another toss-up round. And just a reminder to our teams, you do lose points if you interrupt a question with an incorrect answer. The other team will then have a chance to answer, and there is no conferring in the toss-up rounds. All right, teams, here we go. Of the U.S. states, which one is the smallest? Henry.
Rhode Island.
Correct, at 1,214 square miles. A 4-month siege on the city of Tenochtitlan by Hernando Cortez in 1521 effectively destroyed which civilization? Henry.
Aztec.
Correct. Isaac Newton discovered a phenomenon that first explained how planets move, and his later laws concerning it became the basis for modern physics. Name the phenomenon. Sutton.
Gravity.
Correct. Before entering politics, which U.S. president's vocation was as an actor and not a reality? Sutton.
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, correct, 40th president. The People's Republic of China was founded by which politician? Arjun.
Mao Zedong.
Correct. What Tony Award-winning musical and movie features songs by the Swedish group ABBA? Brody.
Mamma Mia.
Correct. How many faces do icosahedrons have? Connor.
20.
That is correct. Spell icosahedron. Henry.
ICOSAHEDRON.
And that is correct. What type of technology produced a virtual currency such as Bitcoin? Henry.
Blockchain.
Correct. Troglodytes are often slow-moving animals with very little skin pigmentation, large heads, elongated limbs to make for more efficient movement, and small eyes or none at all. They are permanent residents of what geologic world? Arjun.
Underground.
Judges? We will accept that. They live in caves. It is the most densely populated neighborhood in California's most densely populated city and is home to the largest Chinese community outside of Asia. Arjun.
Chinatown, San Francisco.
That is correct. I was going to ask in what city would you find the oldest Chinatown in America? What U.S. government agency has the initials TSA? Jonah.
Transportation Safety Administration.
That is incorrect.
Oh, wait.
Christopher's?
I know it.
Robert?
Transportation Security Administration.
That is correct.
Can't talk.
Field Marshal Montgomery, Fleet Admiral Nimitz, and Marshal Zhukov were allies during what war? Arjun.
World War II.
Correct. After this commander lost the Battle of Brandywine and failed to retake Philadelphia in the Battle of Germantown, the Conway Cabal was formed to consider replacing him despite his success at the Battle of Trenton. Robert.
George Washington.
That is correct. The Kariba Dam spans what river of southern Africa, which is home to Victoria Falls? Henry.
Zambezi.
Correct. Who was both the first and later the oldest American to orbit the Earth? Robert.
John Glenn.
Correct. First at age 21, then again at age 77. Their eyes were watching God, and Barracoon, the story of the last black cargo, are works by one female folklorist.
Hurston.
Sutton. Zora Neale Hurston is correct. You may need your pencil and paper. Solve the following equation. 7x minus 8 equals 3x plus 12. Sutton.
X equals 5.
That is correct. All right, teams, here's another question from the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch.
Which Revolutionary-era document inspired the U.S. Bill of Rights and the French Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen?
Henry?
Declaration of Rights.
That is correct. In the photoelectric effect, these particles can be knocked out of a surface by the energy from a gamma ray. They are the antiparticles of positrons. Connor?
Electrons.
Correct. Name the Greek philosopher who founded the Lyceum after his pupil Alexander the Great went off to war. Henry?
Plato.
That is incorrect. Robert?
Aristotle.
That is correct. For what shaped mirror is it impossible to form a real image? Arjun?
Concave.
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Connor?
Convex.
That is correct. And that buzzer means
by
one more
100.
toss-up just ahead, and we'll double the point value. Stay tuned to see which of our teams is today's winner here on Battle of the Brains.
Love Battle of the Brains? Ready for your high school team to play next season? Go to battleofthebrains.net to learn more. Welcome back to Battle of the Brains.
Here are the scores as we head into the final round here on Battle of the Brains. Our team from St. Christopher School with 270 points. Our team from Clover Hill High School with 170 points. And in this last toss-up round, the point score for a correct answer is doubled. So is the penalty for an incorrect answer given before I finish the question. There is no deduction for an incorrect answer to a completed question. Good luck, teams. This is our final toss-up round. Built on the southern bank of the Yamuna River in India, this structure was built in the 17th century.
Taj Mahal.
That is correct, as a mausoleum. This prehistoric monument located on Salisbury Plain consists of a circular group. Henry?
Stonehenge.
That is correct. Hematite and magnetite are minerals containing what metal? Lilia?
Iron.
Correct. Who was the first vice president of the United States to actually... Arjun?
John Adams.
Actually become president. He was the second vice president under Washington. The Valley of the Shadow of Death, Vanity Fair, and the Celestial City are places in what allegorical novel about Christian's journey by John Bunyan? Arjun?
Dante's Inferno.
That is incorrect. Jonah?
Their eyes were watching God.
It's actually the Pilgrim's Progress. Which geological era are we currently living in? Henry?
Cenozoic.
Correct, also known as the Age of Mammals. Which singer-songwriter is the reigning Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year? Arjun?
Morgan Wallen.
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Henry?
Beyonce.
It's actually Lainey Wilson. Who was the mad monk and insidious influence on the Russian Tsar and Tsarina? Henry?
Rasputin.
Correct, preceding the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. The purchase of what future U.S. state was called Seward's Folly? Henry?
Alaska.
Correct, name for Secretary of State William Seward. Among the earliest of these devices was the Van de Graaff generator. Larger and more powerful ones include the cyclotron, which can impart giga-electron volts of energy. Name these devices that increase a particle's velocity. Connor?
Particle accelerator.
Correct. Hyperion, Prometheus, and Cronus belong to what group of offspring? Robert?
The Titans.
That is correct. Dang it. Which one of the Muppets is a daredevil performance artist? Robert?
Gonzo.
Correct, an alien and loves all things chicken. What branch of chemistry primarily studies compounds such as lithium chloride that do not contain carbon atoms? And Connor?
Inorganic chemistry.
That is correct. What is the stick called that is passed from runner to runner in a relay race? Brody?
Baton.
Correct. Before it became Ethiopia, by what other name was that country called? Henry?
Abyssinia.
That is correct. The man at the center of a Nevada festival celebrating self-expression. Brody?
Burning Man.
Correct. We were going to name some other things too, but that is correct. What is defined as a tax on goods produced abroad imposed by the government? Arjun?
Tariff.
Correct. Who was the last British emperor of India? Henry?
Victoria.
That is incorrect. Robert?
George VI.
That is correct. Grandfather to the current King Charles III. What is the highest score possible in 10-pin bowling? Henry?
300.
Correct. The Z28, Rally Sport, LT, and Berlinetta were different varieties of what sports car recently reintroduced by Chevrolet? Sutton?
The Altima.
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Henry?
Corvette.
was actually the Camaro. This family line included 3 Peters, 3 Alexanders, and 2 Catherines. It lost power when Nicholas II abdicated the throne and was eventually killed by the Bolsheviks. Arjun.
Romanov.
That is correct. Which Virginia river is arguably the oldest in North America despite its name? Henry.
New.
That is correct. Lady Gaga won an Oscar and 2 Grammy Awards for her song Shallow. From what movie? Brody.
La La Land.
That is incorrect. Clover Hill? Jonah?
Hamilton.
It was from A Star is Born. And that buzzer is the end of our game. While our judges double check the final score, here's a reminder of how to stay connected with us here at Battle of the Brains.
Stay up to date on Battle of the Brains. Follow along as your favorite teams advance this season. Visit battleofthebrains.net to learn more and follow along at Battle of the Brains on social media. Join us next week on Battle of the Brains as we welcome students from Maggie Walker Governor School playing against students from Collegiate School. Don't miss the action.
Now here's the final score for today's match, determining which team will continue on in this season's competition. Ending this game with a final score of 370 points, our team from Clover Hill High School. Great job today by Lydia, Henry, Connor, and Jonah. Thanks so much for playing with us on Battle of the Brains. We wish you the best of luck in the rest of your school year. Our winners today with a final score of 450 points, our team from St. Christopher School. Congratulations to Brody, Arjun, Robert, and Sutton, and we'll see you in the next round. Congratulations. I'm Cheryl Miller. Thank you so much for playing and watching along here on Battle of the Brains, and we'll see you back here next week. Great match, teams.
Game over. Thank you for watching Battle of the Brains, presented by Invest 529. Goodbye.